Let me give it to you straight. If you don't own it, you don't control it. And if you don't control it, you don't really have it. Freedom, power, creativity, it all comes down to one principle: self-reliance. In this chapter of the 50th Law, we dive into what it means to truly stand on your own, and how that mindset separates those who lead from those who get used. Let's break it down. Part 1. Working for others puts your life on lease. When you work for someone else, they own your hours. They own your ideas. They even control how far you can rise. You might get paid, even paid well. But you're still just a high-paid employee. That's what 50 Cent figured out early on. After doing time in a rehab centre in Brooklyn, he came back to the streets with nothing. No cash, no corner, no leverage. A friend offered him a job, bagging drugs for cash. At first it seemed like a good move, but by the end of the day, 50 realised he had made a big mistake. He wasn't hustling anymore. He was just another employee. And in that moment, he saw the trap. Dependence. Part 2. Dependence is a mental disease. Let's be real. Dependence doesn't just rob your money, it kills your ambition. When you're waiting for someone else to tell you what to do, when you rely on someone to put you on, you lose the edge that makes you dangerous. That's what 50 saw in the other baggers around him. They had been bosses once, but after setbacks, prison, violence, bad luck, they got scared. They didn't want the risk anymore. They wanted security. But that security came with a cost: their freedom. They traded ownership for a daily wage. And once you give that up, it's hard to get it back. Part 3. The hustler's empire? It's not just a block, it's a mindset. Now let's talk about what real ownership looks like. It's not about physical territory. It's about owning your time, your energy, your direction. As a hustler, 50's empire was how he moved. His freedom to make decisions. His ability to adapt, shift, and act without asking permission. And he realised something powerful. Every time you rely on someone else, you shrink that empire. But when you build it for yourself, you move different. You don't ask for opportunities. You create them. You don't depend on people. You collaborate. But you stay in control. That's real power. Part 4. Escaping the trap. The turning point. So what did 50 do? Instead of sitting around waiting to be promoted, he flipped the situation. At the end of his first day bagging, he made a deal with the other workers. He gave them the cash he earned that day. In exchange, they gave him the leftover crack. From a technique, he taught them to make capsules look full with less product. Within a week, he had enough supply to hit the streets again. No boss, no leash. Just him, back in motion. That was the turning point. He made a vow right there, never work for someone else again. He'd rather die. Part 5. Leveling up. The same game, different stage. Fast forward to 50's music career. He blows up in the mixtape scene, gets signed to Interscope with the help of Eminem. And now he's in boardrooms, not corners. But the game, same dynamics. The execs were playing a slicker version of the same control game. They owned your music. They told you how to dress, how to talk, what videos to make. They gave you perks, money, and status. But only if you played their way. That's not partnership. That's a leash. So 50 flipped the game again. Part 6. Take the power back. Quietly. Instead of going to war with Interscope, he made strategic moves. He used his own money to shoot videos. Took control of his image without asking permission. He launched his own label Dash. Not to compete with them, but to learn the business from the inside. He built his own website Dash, so he could market directly to fans and experiment with new ideas. To them it looked like hustle. To him it was training camp. Because the real play was this: run out the contract. Then go independent. No middlemen, no gatekeepers, just full ownership. Global hustle on his terms. Part 7. What this means for you. You might not be selling mixtapes or crack, but the lesson applies everywhere. If you're building someone else's dream, you'll always need their approval to eat. If you're depending on favours, connections, or comfort, you're playing a dangerous game. One shift in the system, and it's all gone. But if you start building your own, even if it's small, even if it's slower, you're free. You answer to yourself. You control the brand, the value, the voice, and that energy, that independence. It multiplies. Outro. The only empire that matters. Let's be clear, ownership doesn't just mean money, it means self-respect. When you make everything your own, your time, your grind, your vision, you stop waiting. You stop begging. You stop asking people to put you on. You just move. And when the system shifts, you don't panic, because you weren't leaning on it in the first place. That's real freedom. That's the 50th law. And it starts with one mindset. I'd rather die than work for someone else's dream. I'm building mine.